Hello everybody, this is Sherry from djsundry.blogspot.com, and I have a project I want to do with you real quick, and it's just kind of a fun little box. Now, if you've watched my blog log, you realize that when I give little treats to my husband and kids, I like to try to dress it up a little bit. So I had this candy that you see here, sitting up here, that I had bought for him. And I wanted to get it all packaged up in a cute way, something different, but yet I didn't want it to necessarily be a box or a tin or something that he could hang on to. And the reason why is I've done that. And so I went grocery shopping today and I bought some mushrooms, and I have never seen a mushroom container quite like this. It's cardboard. It's like a coated cardboard. And I thought that will be perfect. Now I may not be able to get the bottle caps all in there, but so I may save that for another day, but I'll be able to get some of his other favorite little candies in there. So let's get started, and I'll show you what I'm going to use. Let's move the candy aside. I'm going to need my Fiskars punch. This is a Scallop Sentiment punch. I've used that. I have this paper. Now all the papers that I'm using today I pulled out of my scrap stash. So I have this, it's like this iridescent kind of pearlized blue paper. I'm not sure where I got it. I think it's from the Paper Studio. I'm not sure, but it's just some scraps. And I have this brown suede looking paper, and I believe that this is from an old hot off the press stash. I don't even know if it's still available, but they had a packet of paper called leather something, or I don't know, it's quite old, but anyway, I pulled that out of my scrap stash. And then this is just another piece of scrap that I had from Chatterbox, and it's called Boy Stripe, and I want to use this side. This side has a print on it too, but I wanted to use this side. So let's get started. Oh, a couple more things. I had these large tags from the paper company, and I'm using one of those. And then I'm using from Tim Holtz Gathered Twigs Distress ink, and I'm using my homemade Perfect Pearls, and I'll explain all that in a minute. So let's get started on the project. So what I did is I started out with my box, and I just measured the sides. I'm not going to give you the exact measurements of the things that I made because it's really not important, because I'm just repurposing this particular object, and I want you to look around your house, see what you can repurpose. So I took this and I measured it, and my goal was to use up some scraps, and I didn't have enough of any one of these pieces to do the whole box. So that's why I chose 3 of them that coordinated, and I had to mix it up a bit. And so on one side I just put the blue, on this side I put the suede, and on this side I'm going to put the suede. Now I noticed that this is bubbling a little bit, and that's because the box itself is bubbling. You know, there was some moisture from the mushrooms, and so that's why that's bubbling. So I've got this suede piece all cut and ready, so let's put that on here. And again, this is just going together very quickly. It's nothing fancy. It's not something that I care if, you know, if it gets dropped on the floor and stepped on, it'll get thrown away. It's not a big deal. I'm using scraps, and I'm using repurposed, recycled, I guess you could say, box. I mean, it's just something fun. Now, I measured that, but as I can see, it's not quite perfect. So I'm just going to, and it won't be perfect, but I'm just going to trim off the top, just like that. Okay, so then I've got my blue side. Now on the blue side, I did leave a little bit of the corrugated cardboard box showing because I liked how it kind of made a frame, almost like a craft colored frame. On the brown, because the box was a little bit wavy on the one end, I decided to cover the whole side. And so when I did it on one end, I needed to do it the same on the other end. Now this is going to be the front side of our box. So what I did is, instead of just putting this blue piece here, and you can see I left a frame, but if you flip it over, I've already got a piece of the stripe, and this will go right here. And so we'll just, whoops, there goes the end of my ATG. Wouldn't you know? Give me just a second and I'll grab some different adhesive because I know I've got something ready here. I have this photo tape and that will work. So let's just keep right on going. Don't you love it when you get right in the middle of a project and your adhesive runs out? Happens to me all the time. Alrighty. This is why I don't use this type of tape very often. Now this isn't the good quality. I mean, it's good quality, don't misunderstand me, but it's not the score tape that you would use for hefty or projects. It's just photo tape. It's really designed for scrapbooking, and it's some that I had in my stash from years ago. But it will work. Now I may come back in a bit. Haven't decided yet. I may just leave it like that, or I may put my husband's name on there with some stickers or something. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so there's the main part of our box. So now what I want to do is show you what else I did. Now I wanted to have something on the inside of my box, just like packing material or like what you would do with a gift basket, but I didn't have any tissue paper or shreds or anything the right color. So what I did, and I know this looks horrible right now, but I think it'll look better when I'm all done. So I took a piece of white, and I took my Gathered Twigs Distress, and first I crinkled this all up into a ball, and then I smoothed it out, and I rubbed the Distress ink all over the top of it so that you can see where it picks up the various tones. And then what I did is I took my Perfect Pearl homemade spray, which is just water with some perfect pearls, and I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but it does give it a little bit of sparkle in there. And I sprayed the whole thing, and then I wadded it all up in a ball again, and then I very carefully spread it out on my craft mat, and then I used my my heat gun to dry it, because I was kind of in a hurry. I didn't want to wait for it to dry. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip it into shreds and just make my own homemade packing material. It's just a quick tip, something you can do. Again, even this tissue paper was repurposed. I had gone shopping for clothes recently, and the store that I shop in sometimes wraps the clothing in tissue paper, and this was some of the tissue paper that I had saved, because they're quite actually generous with their tissue paper, and I thought, well, I might as well save that. I can wrap a present or something with it. Never dreamed I would be working it and changing colors with it and making it be packing material for candy, of all things. But hey, we use what works, and it's kind of fun to just kind of let it see what we have. Now, if I wanted to, and if I was looking for something a little more fancy, I could have carefully maybe used decorative scissors to just cut this, or maybe I could have used an edge punch. But I think it would have been more hassle than it's really worth, because even though it's painted and dried, tissue paper is still so delicate that it's really hard to have a nice clean edge on it. So that just kind of fills it in a little bit, gives it a little bit of interest there. And now we can put our candy. Now, I personally like these little Jelly Bellies. I really do not like black licorice, but my husband really does like it. So and I'm not a big fan. I don't care about the bottle caps either, but he likes them. So since it's for him, we'll do it like he likes it. So there's our little box, but we're not quite done yet. Now I wanted to make a little tag. Now this tag that I made, I used this, this says, "Hello there, handsome, we, they." And this is from My Mind's Eye, the Dilly Dally Hello title from Miss Caroline collection. And I've had this for months. And the moment I saw it in the store, I knew that I wanted it to do, I had originally planned a card for my husband, but I decided instead I was going to use it on this tag. So I've already backed it on foam tape, and as you can see, I've used my negative space to fill in with the foam tape as well. And this is going to be quite dimensional, but because it's not a card and it's not going in the mail, that's a perfect time to use that really thick foam tape that I've had for years. So now I'm going to give you some hints about my tag. I've already started my tag, and if you remember correctly, I told you that I didn't have quite enough paper to do any one thing big enough. So I'm going to paper piece and make it look neat by paper piecing it. So I cut my brown. Now this being shy was just a mistake. I just didn't get it on there straight, and I had cut it just barely big enough. So I thought, well, I've got to fix that somehow. So I took a piece of the blue, and this is where my scallop punch comes in. I know that it's not very manly, but by the time I'm all done, I think it's going to look really good. So I'm going to, oops, I forgot that that wasn't good anymore. Let's pull this Tombow. So I'm going to be quite generous with my tape here. And I'm just going to line it up. Now at this point, I'm most concerned that it lines up straight, since I've already got that craft tag coming, showing at the bottom. So I'm going to line it up straight. And I just took a strip. I think it was about 1 1/8 inches, and then I scalloped it because I had plenty of strips. I just didn't have really enough to do any one whole big area. So we're going to make it work. So I'm just going to hand trim it so that it will fit and be to size and still look nice. So there's the front side of my tag. Now another thing that I did is, after I put my suede on the front, I went ahead and repunched the hole that was already in the tag, and then I took, this is kind of a bronze colored eyelet from We Are Memory Keepers. It came with my Crop-A-Dile, or my I think my Crop-A-Dile, and I set the eyelet in the hole just to kind of give it some interest. And then I wanted to work on the back. So again, because I didn't have enough of the paper, I just took a couple of the strips of brown and put it on the outside edge. I've already done that. And then, now I did have enough blue that I could just put blue over here, but if I did that, it wasn't very interesting. So I decided, well, let's just finish it off and make it look good. So I took a strip of the other printed paper and I put that in the middle, and then I punched my hole. And do you see what I did? I cut it too small. So and I don't have much of this to waste, and so what I decided I would do is we'll go ahead and adhere this down, centering it over the hole. And you know, there aren't any rules, since this is my own project here, there aren't any rules that says I have to have the tag be a certain size. It's my tag, and so what I decided I would do is, as long as my sentiment, my title thing fits on there, then that's all that really matters. So I'm going to line this up, make sure it's straight, and the goal there is my hole. Now, by doing it this way, yes, my hole's not protected on the back, but the rough side of the eyelet is covered over, and that's why I chose to do it this way. So on this top part, I'm just going to trim so it's flush there. Now I have this little issue here. Well, that's really easy to fix. All I have to do is grab my paper trimmer and trim it. I'm going to just choose kind of where I want to cut it off and just trim it off. So I guess the biggest thing, now that's so thick with this particular paper trimmer, doesn't really want to cut it. So let's just trim it with my scissors. I guess the biggest thing that I want to say in all of this is, you know, sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves when we make a mistake. We just want to throw it out and start over. Well, that was perfectly salvageable, and I didn't have to start it over. So we're just about to finish up this tag here. I've already removed the sticky part off of here, and I'm just going to kind of put that in an angle that says, "Hello there, handsome." Now there's just a couple of more things that I want to do. I've pulled this ribbon from 3 Girl Jam. This is the ice blue, and this is the hot chocolate. And I'm going to put my ribbon in the eyelet and tie a bow. Well, I don't know that I'm going to tie a bow, but I'm going to put my ribbon in my eyelet and run it through the hole, just like so, and trying to decide. I think I'm just going to cut it off up here, and I think I'm going to find a charm. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I did find some charms and some other things to add to it, so let me show you what I did. First of all, I went through my stash, and I found this Tim Holtz key that says heart, and I had one of these swivel clasps from Tim Holtz, and I added that on, and that's what I tied my ribbon through. Now, I didn't want a bow, so I just tied a knot through the swivel clasp, and I hung the heart from the swivel clasp. Then I found one of these little word token charms from Tim Holtz. It says kiss. And then I went through and I had these little alphabet beads that I had bought for a project and then hadn't used it. And they had hearts on them and they had alphabet letters on them. And so I chose a D and a C and I ran it through some baker's twine. Now the baker's twine that I used for this particular project was from Martha Stewart Crafts. Let me show that to you. It's one that I got on clearance from Michael's quite a while back, around I think last Christmas. And the reason I chose this particular one is because it's thinner. Now for most of my projects I prefer the heavier baker's twine, but this one is not quite as heavy, and it was easy for me to put them through the holes on my little charms here. They're teeny tiny holes, and my regular baker's twine wouldn't fit through there. So I just tied some knots, a lot of knots. I thought I had enough knots here on my charms, and when I got ready to pick it up, they came off. So I tied more knots until I was sure that there was enough. There's some movement allowed here, but not enough that it's going to come off the end. I've pulled it pretty tight to make sure that it wouldn't. So here's my tag. Hello there, handsome. It's got my beautiful 3 Girl Jam ribbon here. So, and then here's my tag that says hello there, handsome. That's all raised up. On the back side, we've got our pretty papers and just the little scraps that I used to make the tag complete. And then we have the charms. And when I put them all together into the box, it will all fit just like that for my husband. So thanks for stopping by today. Be sure to go to 3 Girl Jam if you're interested in some of this gorgeous crinkle ribbon, and have a great day.